The new Billie Eilish and Don Toliver albums are their best, and I don't even think that's recency bias. I've never really been a Billie Eilish fan necessarily, but I've known about her for a while now. And whenever she has released a new album, I go and listen to it and then immediately forget about it. I don't know, her music just never hit me, and I still have not gone back to those albums. So when I first went to listen to her newest record, Hit Me Hard and Soft, I was expecting the same thing as before. But I've got to admit, this is one of the best albums of 2024 so far. I think what turned me away from her earlier music so much was that I just couldn't really relate to it that much. I wasn't a massive fan of the production as a whole either. I just didn't really mess with it that much. Her second album, I remember being much more digestible, but I didn't enjoy it like that. I can respect her music, but I don't really want to willingly listen to it. What makes Hit Me Hard and Soft stick to me is the writing and the production style. There's a wide variety of instruments and styles, but it still feels extremely cohesive. There's a lot of guitars and strings throughout, but that's heavily contrasted with the use of both bass guitars and 808s in some spots. It plays into the album's title and themes so well. Billie's writing is very introspective on Hit Me Hard and Soft, and that mood is set instantly on the opening song Skinny. The lyrics on this song are so tragically beautiful, and the guitar in the background sounds submerged, and it fits so well. Skinny is definitely one of my favorites on the album, such a gorgeous track to start off, and it transitions right into the song Lunch. Lunch is the biggest hit on the album for sure, but it might honestly be one of my least favorites on the track list. It is not by any means a bad song, but I enjoy other ones much more, like the following song, Chihiro, which is for sure one of my top songs, if not my favorite on the whole thing. The bass on this one makes it stand out for me, but there's an entire almost dubstep or like EDM build-up section that sounds fucking unreal. It is such an eargasm. Billie's vocals on this one are amazing as well, but I think that is generally the case on most of her songs. That's absolutely the case on the next track, Birds of a Feather. I know I just said that Chihiro might be my favorite, but I love this one so much. The song feels so enchanting, and the singing takes me away every time. The lyrics are very simple, but they work for what the song is going for, and the chorus just makes the song what it is for me, and it is followed up by an equally great song in Wildflower. Wildflower is a much slower one, but once again, the writing and lyrics create a majestic tandem. The lyrics hit on this one big time. This 5-track run to start this album is the best section of the whole thing to me. It is a really strong start. I like some of the following songs, but I don't come back to them nearly as much as these ones. However, the closing track, Blue, is in my top 3. Such a fantastic two-parter song that once again plays into the themes of Hit Me Hard and Soft so well. I love how the instrumental on both halves almost equally. I really like the flow that the first part has, but the ending beat sounds so haunting and it knocks so hard, and it just ends this album off on such a crazy note. I love it so much. Overall, Hit Me Hard and Soft has some standout songs for sure. It has a very steady pace that's compacted into a 10-song package. It has some of the most gorgeous production I've heard this year, and it delivers on its concepts and themes with the writing and instrumentation. I honestly never thought I would own a Billie album on vinyl, but here we are. I finally found one I liked. With Don Toliver, though, I actually have been a fan of his for a few years now. I think he has a pretty good amount of great songs, and he is most certainly a feature killer most of the time, but I do not jive with his albums that much. Lovesick is the only album I would consider not very good. The rest I feel are just kind of subpar. They have their good tracks on it, but there's also a fair amount of filler on them too. These three albums also feel very samey in terms of soundscape. Lovesick probably deviates the most, but I don't think it helps it that much in that case. I've always felt like Don was capable of making a good or possibly great album, and my prayers were finally answered with his newest release, Hardstone Psycho. I remember when I first heard Bandit, I was very excited for what Don's next album was going to sound like. The production on Bandit is fucking phenomenal. I love the Tame Impala sample, and Don is relentless through the entirety of the track. There is not a single dull moment on that song. But yeah, the production was what had me so intrigued. It was a blend of some metal guitar riffs and a ragey trap sound. Hardstone Psycho has its songs that sound like this, but there is way more variety than I was anticipating on this thing. That's very apparent with how this album is sequenced on streaming. It's split into 4 discs, 4 tracks each, and each one sounds either extremely different or only slightly different than the one before. Disc 1 might be my favorite. It kicks off with Kryptonite.
What you need, I need you on your knees. I'm begging, baby.
A killer opening track that has a disgusting beat change towards the later end. Tore Up immediately follows that. And it continues a trap metal sound set up from the opener. Tore Up is absolutely one of my favorites from the album. The guitar in the back is ridiculously good, and I love the rage type of vibe Don has on this one. Brother Stone is the third track.
Yeah, birds in the track, they gon' stink, Mara, serving the ash out of big butter.
And it heavily features Kodak Black. Now, I'm not super into him. I fuck with him on Silent Hill though. But on this song, he delivers such an interesting cadence that adds so much bounce to the song, and it's perfectly offset with the crazy piano throughout. Don is fine on this song, but I honestly come back to this one because of the beat and Kodak. Disc 1 wraps up with Attitude. And I'm still not sure if I like this one or not. I feel like it doesn't really go anywhere, but it's catchy, and I do like the Cash Cobain drums on it. Disc 2 starts with Bandit. Probably my favorite song on the whole album still. Glock follows that. Though, and it is a pretty big departure from the other songs. It's way more vibey and laid back, but my god is it catchy. He hits a groove with this one that is really intoxicating, and the Whitney Houston sample is also incredible as well. I see a lot of people hating on Travis on the song Ice Age. She know my phone number, but she think I'm Mike Jones. Why I had to put it down in the Ice Age. But I actually fuck with it a lot. It feels like he's in his ethereal Astroworld bag on it, and I always love Travis's flows. His flow and just rhythm on this song, it's so addicting for me. I keep coming back to Ice Age. Don does make it way better with his contribution though towards the end. That's something I will note though, is that on some of the songs, he lets the features have a lot of it, and I just find that very interesting. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but that's something I picked up when hearing the songs with features on them. 4x4 is one I feel like I need to listen to more. I'm back on roll. I'm back on gold. Because the production is sick as hell, but Don's delivery is a little off kilter in some spots. He does sound like Kermit the Frog at the beginning, so it's a little bit too much for me. But it's still a sick song production-wise. Like, it fucking knocks. Disc 3 continues with the vibey stuff with songs like Purple Rain, New Drop, and Backstreets. These 3 songs are pretty great, but I love the last 2 a lot. I think New Drop might be the underrated gem from this album. It is so different from everything else in the best ways possible. It sounds like a club song, and it kind of sticks out, but like I said, it does it in the best ways possible. It is so catchy, and I keep coming back to that one as well. I think Tizo on Backstreets might be my favorite feature though.
We can link all summer and go and fuck it up. Girl, you got me drunk, I need it in a rush.
And he doesn't even have a verse or anything. His little additions to that song make it for me. And Future's feature on Purple Rain, he does great on that song.
Get ready, better hold it steady. Got a couple bitches ready, eat it down in LA.
The Metro production is amazing. The Zaytoven kind of ad-libs in the background though are kind of they kind of get to me after a little bit, but it's still a really great song. Deep in the Water wraps up that disc.
Deep in the water, far as I can see. Deep in the water, it's just you and me.
And it is another amazing track on this album, one of my favorites. The production shines and Dawn flows so effortlessly on it from start to finish. Disc 4 is the only disc I feel kind of falls flat. I love Inside a shit ton.
Ain't a time that I'm not outside. I don't realize that I should be inside with you.
And 5 for 10 is pretty solid, but the last 2 are my only skips on the whole record. I just feel like they're both kind of boring considering everything that was before them. And I was listening to the deluxe version as well for this album, and I think you could pluck a couple songs off of that and replace those last 2 songs. Like I think that they pale in comparison to all the other tracks on the album, which is pretty crazy, but whatever. With that being said though, that doesn't really make this album that much worse for me. Hardstone has a plethora of great songs that you can take from it, and there's so many styles and vibes too. Here are my favorites from both albums, and here are the finished artworks as well that were going in the background. I love both of these, especially the Hardstone Psycho one. I felt very inspired by listening to both albums and just tried to kind of pick an image in my head that fit them the most. And I think the Billy one fits with the themes of that album more, but the Hardstone Psycho one looks fucking sick. I love how that one turned out. Anyway, let me know what you think of these albums. Do you think they are the best albums these artists have made? And let me know if you guys like the artworks as well. If you guys enjoyed this video, please drop a like and subscribe, and hopefully I will see you in another video soon. Thank you for watching. Peace out.
Ain't no time that I'm not outside. I don't realize that I should be inside.